Life coaching is pretty new in our country. A lot of people don't know what life coaching is. So every time I have a discussion with a potential client, I have to explain everything on what life coaching is, what is the process, what are the benefits, what is the cost benefit analysis. So I thought let's make a video through an example, through a real life case study. So let's talk about one of my recent client success story. This is a story about a woman who overcame the problem of overthinking, worrying, and negative thoughts in less than 3 months while working with me. Every coaching starts with a realization to a person that they need help. In her case, she had a nervous breakdown so extreme that she was on a 3 months leave from office. She was seeing a counselor as well, and it didn't help her. And then she realized that she needs help from someone else. She approached me on LinkedIn. But isn't it a big thing? Even to realize that you have a problem. And on top of that, being modest enough to accept help from someone else. How many of you would do that if you were going through this situation? How many of you have taken out time to identify if you really have a problem? To identify, do you really need external help? That's why it's a big step. That's why it is said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And the first step is the most important one. Now coming back to the story. Once she realized that she needs help and once she approached me, we started discussing about the problems. Prima facie, she said that she has a problem of overthinking, of worrying, of having negative thoughts and seeking validation from others. And as a result, she also had anxiety because of all this. So the first step of coaching is to understand the problem. And to understand the problem, we had to deep dive into her past, deep dive into her childhood, deep dive into her major milestones of life, deep dive into her major experiences, major failures, major successes, major relationships. We even discussed her family, her social life, her hobbies, her spiritual outlook towards life, her health. So we had an holistic deep down into her life. And do you want to guess how much time it took? It took more than 5 weeks. Almost 10 to 12 hours. That's why it's crucial to deep dive. And why do we deep dive into it? To identify the root cause. Without handling the root cause, nothing will change. Without identifying the root cause, it might bring a very temporary change, but then people will fall back to their old ways. That's why it's important to handle the root cause. And that's what we did. We came to a conclusion that the root cause was that her childhood was traumatic. All the problems she faced rooted from her family experience, from the way she was treated at home. And she hung on to the past. She couldn't move on. She couldn't make peace with her past. There was such a relief for both of us when after 5 weeks of intense sessions, we could pinpoint on what exactly was happening. And once we identified that, our work was almost 75% done. And then it became simpler. Once you identify the root cause, you identify the goals. And that's what we did. We identified the goals that she had to stop or take control over overthinking. When she fell into that overthinking loop, we had to enable her to take a pause between that loop and break that loop. And then one more goal was to stop seeking validation from others. She had a lot of abandonment issues. That's why she always craved for others' validation. We had to take that in our control. And lastly, she had to love herself. And once we put down our plan, it was time for execution. Various self-help tools were utilized. She started with journaling. She started maintaining the track of triggers of overthinking and anxiety. She started talking into mirror to herself and saying that I love you. She started talking to family and tried to understand what their view was. She started meditating. She started exercising. As a coach, my primary job was to monitor this, because without accountability, nothing will change. So every week we sat down and we ran through the discipline track. We understood how much goals were achieved, how disciplined she was. We tried to understand why she failed in some cases, why she couldn't do it on those days. And then we recognized more and more patterns. And then we broke those patterns. And that's how week by week she improved. And there was a significant change. Even through a Zoom call, I could see her body language change. I could see how energetic she was, how positive she became, how she felt that things were now in her control. After 12 weeks of coaching, the results were out. Her overthinking was in control. She was better physically as well as mentally in terms of health. Her anxiety had reduced, and she was more optimistic about everything in her life. She had made peace with her past, and she was making progress in detaching from the past. We actually still continue to have our coaching sessions, but majority of the goals have been achieved. And that's what coaching is. That's how you achieve your goals. And that's what gives me a satisfaction, that I have made some difference in someone's life. I have improved someone's life. Hope to continue to do that. If you are also facing similar situation, of course, try yourself. You can do it. Take help from your family, from your friends, from your mentors. And still, if you're not able to reach your goals, take professional help. Do reach out to me. If you want to book a coaching session, DM me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or you can email me on coachpiyushsomani@gmail.com. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much.